Hello, hello. This is Adelai Brown, your heart coach, and I want to welcome you to Heal With Me. Heal With Me is our weekly live support group where we come together and heal our hearts so that we can transform our lives. I am so thankful that you are here with me tonight, whether you're watching now, listening now, listen on the replay. I'm just so thankful to be spending this time with you and able to share a topic that I know is very pressing for a lot of people right now. And I just wanted to, go ahead and talk a little bit about it. So tonight we're going to talk about 3 ways to get unstuck in life and business. 3 ways to get unstuck in life and business. Because let's be honest, you're feeling stuck. And if you're not feeling stuck right now, you may be feeling stuck here really soon. I know for me personally, this feeling of being stuck is something that haunted me for a very long time. It actually is the whole reason why I started heart coaching, the reason why I published my books, the reason why I have done, the reason why I'm here in front of you today is because I got tired of feeling stuck. I got tired of feeling like, I have dreams, but I can't fulfill those dreams. I have desires and things that I want to do, but I can't fulfill those dreams because you don't know what I've been through. You don't know my story. You don't know the disappointments, the people that have disappointed me, as well as the ways that I have disappointed others. There were so many stories that I was telling myself as to why I was stuck in life. And what I came to find out is many of those stories were not true. So tonight, as we go through, I just want to ask you, like, do you feel stuck? Have you been feeling stuck? And what does that feeling of stuck, of what does that feeling of being stuck, what does that cause to happen in your life? How is that impacting your business or your career? If you do not know, I'm a heart coach and I work with individuals and career professionals specifically to heal their hearts. They're confronting matters of the heart, healing their hearts, embracing the truth, and learning to live authentically transformed lives. The thing about many of us is we are going through our lives right now and we are not living authentic. We are not keeping it real, keeping it 100. Like you hear people say, we might be making money, we might be owning a home or driving a nice car or looking the part. But I'm talking about how do you feel on the inside? I was listening to Lauren Hill just yesterday, and it was she said, how you gonna win when you ain't right within? Come again. And I feel like a lot of us have been trying to win when we're not right within. You know what I mean? Like when I think about being stuck or feeling stuck, is I don't feel right within. I don't feel like I am making the moves, taking the necessary steps in life that maybe I need to be taking. So therefore I'm stuck, right? I'm not winning because I'm not right within. What about you? Like maybe you're used to putting on for others and acting like you're okay, but are you really okay? Because if you're not, that's being stuck. What about, do you have a dream or a desire? Like, do you have a book that maybe you need to publish? Do you have a business that needs to be started, or even maybe a business that you need to grow and develop, right? Do you have a relationship in your life right now that is an important relationship in your life? However, this particular relationship is causing you a lot of stress and you don't know what to do with it. We're talking about feeling stuck. And I know, I don't know about you, but I went from, I felt stuck, but for a very long time, I thought I was stuck. Like I thought that was who I was. I thought that I couldn't really get ahead. I thought that maybe, somebody like me couldn't have some of the things that I desired or live the way I wanted to live. I thought about when I got pregnant at 17 years old, how stuck I felt. I remember when I got pregnant and I felt I was 17 years old. I was living out on my own. And I just remember thinking, my life could really be over right now. Like I really felt stuck. I did not have a good relationship with my mom at the time, hence one of the reasons why I was living out on my own. I also was not in a good situation with my dad. I didn't have a good relationship with him. The relationship that I was in at the time was not a healthy one on both sides. So it was tough, and I was very young. But there was something on the inside of me that knew that it was going to be, I was going to have to make a decision and really choose, was I going to stay there, or was I going to do whatever was necessary to get out of that stuckness? And at that point, I mean, I was pregnant. I didn't even know what life was about to bring my way. I didn't even know what I was about to go through, but I just knew I felt stuck. A junior in high school, found out I was pregnant. Oh yes, I felt stuck. And as I prepared for tonight's call and started thinking about all the different ways that I felt stuck, or the different ways that I may have gotten bogged down in life, and much of that goes back to us not really realizing what stuck is, right? It's just you living below your potential. When you're feeling stuck, it's just you, it's just the space of you saying, hey, I'm not, like, if you ever had a flat tire, it's not but so far that you can go. Like, and if you drive on that tire for a long time, like some people will say, well, my tire is flat, but I'm not stuck. I can get to the next destination. But what many have found is by pushing it too much when you were stuck, and you pretty much dug a hole even deeper for yourself. Now you have a worse problem with your car than you had with just fixing a flat tire. So what's the flat tire in your life? Where has your life lost air? Where have you found that you don't have the capacity, or you feel like you don't have the capacity to get the way you want to be? And then my other question to you is, have you succumbed to this? Like, have you given in to the thought and the idea, like, I'm stuck? Well, maybe you didn't do that. Maybe you didn't give in to the thought or the idea that you're stuck, but maybe you have accepted your situation as this is what it is. Oh, I always been depressed. I always been a pessimistic person. This is me. I always had a bad attitude. This is just who I am, and this is just what I do. If you have that mindset or that mentality, you're stuck. Or what if you're in a situation, like I said, you have a relationship. It could be a professional relationship. It could be a personal relationship. But when you think about this, just me bringing it up, you feel a knot in your stomach or tension in your body someplace. There is something that is stuck. And I don't know, like in the last, ever since COVID has happened, we know that there have been a lot of deaths in relation to COVID, and I've lost a lot of loved ones, and many others have, and it's been, it's been something, but we have all been also learning to deal with it, right? And I just heard, was reading and heard someplace that we've officially moved out of pandemic status, because I don't know about y'all, but I felt stuck in the pandemic for a very long time. And I think we're moving now into endemic status, but the people, loved ones, family, friends, associates, people that I'm seeing, the death that is taking place around me is making me realize that we cannot stay in these stuck places, because none of us know the day or the hour. Now, I know, I started Heart Talk in September 1st of 2014. And I started Heart Talk, and that's what Heal With Me is, a progression of Heart Talk, right? And when I started Heart Talk, I felt stuck. I was having trouble sleeping at night. I was starting to have health issues because the Lord was talking to me and telling me to do things, and I did not want to do it. I did not feel like I was equipped. I did not feel like I was prepared. I did not feel like I was the person for the job. I felt like because of my life experiences, the things I did and did not do, the things I did and did not know, I felt like I was not somebody that needed to be talking to people about the Bible, talking to people about, like, getting their lives together, even though this was something that I just innately did my whole life. I always remember having compassion for people. And I always remember God giving me wisdom, even as a little girl, to share with people who were older than me. People would always say, who raised you? Your grandmother raised you? But now I understand, yes, the people that raised me impacted it, but it was a gift. God gave me a gift of encouragement and uplifting. But the thing I had to learn about that gift, and the thing you might be learning about yours, is that the place that you're gifted is the place that you're going to be the most tested. And so this area of encouragement and uplifting was very tough for me, because I felt like my life was so hard. I felt so stuck and so bogged down. So God, how? I was angry with God, like, how do you want me to uplift these other people and share with them? And I feel so down, and I feel so bad, and I feel so stuck. But see, Revelations 12 and 11 tells us, and I think this is so cool because it's my birthday backwards, but it tells us that they overcame him, the enemy, overcame opposition in your life, overcome stress and all of the things that are holding you back. How? By the blood of the Lamb, meaning acceptance of Jesus Christ as your Savior, and the words of their testimony. And when I really started to learn what that meant, I realized that the things that I went through in life did not discredit me. They actually validated me. So the things that I did that I was most embarrassed of or most ashamed of, those were the things that actually validated me. They didn't discredit me, because I'm still here. And so even with me coming back and doing Heal With Me with you, because my thing is, Heal With Me is a live support group for us, no matter where we are on the globe. If we can connect to this call, we can connect to love. We can connect to honesty and enlightenment and authenticity and love. That's what healing stands for me. So what we have to understand is, I had to realize that I couldn't stay in a stuck place, because I had to show up and let my light shine so that I can shine into dark places for others, just like others have done for me. And the thing that we have to understand is, we have to get past this point of like feeling sorry for ourselves and staying in this space. I wanted to like really break down, what is feeling stuck. Stuck is when you're not doing what you're supposed to do at the level you're called to do it. Because for me, like, yeah, I could pick up the phone and have encouraging conversations, but God wanted me to do Heart Talk live again. You need to talk to others. I need you to let people know. I don't care if it's one, I don't care if it's a million, but I need you to let somebody know that they're not alone. I need you to let somebody know that they are not the only one that is going through this. See, a lot of us are out here trying to project an image. And we really even think we're doing God a favor, because sometimes we don't even want to talk about how stuck we are. And I know I could speak for me. There have been many times in my life, especially after answering the call, right? Publishing my books and doing the events and the speaking and all of those things, writing in essence and being on TV. After doing all of those things, there are like things in my life that'll happen. And God has to remind me, like, those things didn't come to discredit you. These things came to uplift you, to what's the word I'm looking for? To prune you. But they didn't come to discredit you. And so for me, when we talk tonight about 3 ways for you to get unstuck, what you have to understand is, you cannot, it's not just about what you're not doing, it's also maybe what you're not doing enough of. Because the fact of the matter, the truth is, there is some work that we all have to do. So, you know, I talked about feeling stuck when I found out I was pregnant. And then I remember right before I started doing Heart Talk and got my books published and started doing those things, I was talking to God. This is kind of what really prompted me to keep going with heart coaching and everything, because I knew that the things that God was telling me, other people needed to hear it. So we talk about feeling stuck. So there was a point that I was a single woman praying, feeling stuck in singleness, praying to be married. And then when I got married, I felt stuck in marriage. Because what happens is when we're not content within ourselves, when we're not clear with who we are and the things that we're called to do, we don't know our place in life. What happens is we're never going to feel comfortable or content with anything. It doesn't matter what you're praying for. It does not matter what you're believing for. It does not matter what you're hoping for. When you're not right within, when you're not where you need to be mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, you're never, ever going to be content with anything God is doing in your life physically. So it doesn't matter your career status, your title. It doesn't matter your address. It doesn't matter, you know, how much money you have in the bank. It doesn't matter who your friends are, who your family are. If you are not good within, you're going to always feel stuck. It's going to always be something to complain about. It's going to always be something to fuss about. And then the other thing, when you think about being stuck, and this is with a lot of us, we look to the left and look to the right and compare ourselves to other people, and we get complacent. We don't want to step out and do those things that God is calling us to do. We don't want to make ourselves uncomfortable. We don't want to put ourselves out there, right? Because we will say, I want to make sure I do it right. You know, I don't like to do things halfway. But really, a lot of times, the reason why we're not doing what we need to be doing is because our ego is completely in control, and pride is just running the show, and we're more worried about how we're being perceived by other people, what people think about us, how they feel about us, and we're more concerned about that than how we feel within. When I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, I feel very uneasy. I'm easily irritated with other people. My patience is short. I start picking at other people. Well, why didn't you do this? And why didn't you do that? And when you going to do this? And when you going to do that? Usually when I find myself doing things like that, I'm feeling stuck and I don't want to acknowledge it. So I start picking at the issues that other people have. What about you? How do you know when you're unstuck? You could be, you know, I'm not making light of anybody's situations, but some of the signs that you're stuck, you could be feeling anxious, very down, very depressed. You could be angry all the time. That's another sign that you're feeling stuck. You're experiencing that stuckness in your life. Jealousy, insecurities, feeling overwhelmed, always tired. And some of these could be, you know, health issues that need to get checked. I'm not a medical clinician. I'm not a clinical practitioner, but when our hearts are heavy, when we are bogged down, when we have that flat tire on the road of life, these are a lot of the feelings that we can have. And so we go to the doctor and we go this place and we go that place and we try to get help and we try to talk to people. But what I'm just talking to you tonight about is, I'm telling you, you will feel better, you will sleep better, you will look better, you will do a lot of things better when you get unstuck. I know what it feels like to live like a hamster on a wheel and just constantly trying to do things. And it's like you're just running in circles and circles. And it's like, but I'm doing what they're telling me to do, or I'm doing what everybody else is doing, but I'm not getting any results. So I'm going to help you and give you 3 ways to get unstuck. Why you are not feeling the results, why you're not experiencing the breakthrough that you know you were created to live. So the first thing I want to talk to you a little bit about is, before we get into the 3 reasons, I want you to think of how you got here. I talked about some of the feelings that you can have that are signs that you're stuck. Always angry, always irritated, always frustrated, always down, always depressed, always anxious. You might be the type that's always trying to pick apart other people. You can't give compliments, nor can you receive them. You know, maybe you're the type that's always there for everybody else, but never really there for yourself. We're talking about signs that you're stuck. Because you might be listening to this thinking, oh, my brother needs to hear this, or my sister needs to hear this. But I can assure you that if you're the one that's listening to this, you're the one that's stuck. You're the one that needs to hear this, because you need to understand the power of what you removing your blockages and you making way in your life mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, what that means for not just you, but everybody around you. When you think about, I want you to also think about being stuck, like thinking about a line being clogged. Like if you had a big rock or pebble in a hose, or even, you know how you fold over a like a water hose, like let's say this is the hose and you bend it like this because you want to stop the flow, so the water is stuck on one side or the other. What I need you to understand is that you might be looking at a lot of people around you and thinking, if that person would just do this, oh man, this will be, you know, our lives would be so much better. If that person would just do that, our lives would be so much better. But if you're listening to this, you need to know that you are the one that needs to open up the flow, because it's been clogged. And see, what I'm finding is your insecurity, your doubt, your needing to keep up with the Joneses, all of that can keep you stuck. When your kids got to do this because her kids did it, and you don't want your kids to think that they're less than because her kids are doing it and your kids aren't. Your kids don't think they're less than. You think you're less than, and you're projecting that on your kids. That's a stuck mentality. When you can't get out of worrying about what people are thinking about you and how you're being perceived, and take steps in life to bring true change and transformation, to be honest with yourself, to be enlightened, to be authentic. When you can't do that, you are stuck. If you have to go to work and be somebody else, you are stuck. If you can't be yourself wherever you show up, you are stuck. And it's time to get unstuck. I'm telling you, too many of us are living our lives with the flow not coming. And we wonder why we're so thirsty. We wonder why we're so parched. We wonder why our lives aren't exemplifying what we say we believe, especially for those of us who believe in Jesus. We hear the scriptures talk about all these amazing things that God will do and how he'll bless us and how he'll uplift us. But are you really living that quality of life? If you don't feel like you are, you're stuck. And you don't have to stay stuck. If you're feeling envious or jealous of those that are around you, if you're feeling envious or jealous of people you don't even know because they just look like their lives are better than yours, you're stuck. If you are pursuing a degree or trying to start a business or trying to start some type of movement or even write a book, all because you're trying to do this because somebody else did it, or you're trying to do it to please somebody because they told you, oh, Your parents, oh, my whole life, your mom, oh, I always dreamed of you being a doctor. You don't want to be a doctor. You want to be an artist. But because you are so stuck in people pleasing, you're pursuing a whole career that's causing you to die inside. What about you who got married to people because your parents liked them or because they were comfortable and you knew you didn't love them? You knew you didn't want to be with them. You're stuck. It's time to get unstuck. Listen, I would like to think that I live this good life and all of this. And I try my best. I do. I make mistakes like everybody else. But the way people are dying around me, the way I am seeing loved ones transition, and these people are old and young, believers or not, whatever it is, I know, one thing I know for sure is I cannot commit to living stuck. I remember just staying on that hamster wheel, trying to check off all the boxes, trying to do everything the right way so that I can make sure that I can make my life happy, so that I can make sure that I can do, think I was stuck. The thoughts and the beliefs of everybody else. Oh, you should do this. Oh, you so smart, you should do that. Oh, you so pretty, you should do that. And because I didn't feel comfortable within myself, because I didn't trust myself, because I didn't love myself, I was stuck under the mercy, under the validation of the opinions of others, under that weight. I don't want that for you. Since I have started heart coaching, September the 1st will be 8 years since I have officially been heart coaching. 8 years. 8 is the number of new beginnings. Heal with me and the heart incubator that you hear me talking about. This is a new beginning. Why? Because I have committed my life to not being stuck. I'm not saying that I'm going to be perfect, but I have committed my life to not being stuck. But see, some of you are so deeply intertwined in your stuckness. Like you have dug a hole so deep with insecurity, doubt, and fear. You living in neighborhoods, you have friends, you have responsibilities, you've made commitments to people and places and things that your heart has been never connected to. It's all been about your pride. It's all been about feeding your insecurities. It's all been about you trying to present yourself as something that you thought was good enough. But can I tell you something? You're good enough whether you do it or not. You're good enough just by showing up. You don't have to put on. You don't have to pretend. But it takes courage to do that. And what I'm telling you, it takes courage to get unstuck. So wherever you are in life, I can almost guarantee that there's something you feel stuck in. And for me, like what I'm going to use, there were 2 situations that happened in my life that I know that stuck feeling. And I know how desperate you get when you feel stuck. And if any of you have ever heard my testimony, if you haven't heard it, I share it in my book. You can get it on the website, theheartconnections.com. But I remember when my daughter was about 3 years old, she's 21 now, 2 or 3 years old. It was a while back. It was like almost 20 years ago, something like that. And I remember feeling so stuck in my life. I was so down. I was so depressed. I just was not in a good situation. From that season that I talked about earlier, when I talked about being pregnant at 17 and feeling stuck, this was like a continual season I was in. And I remember I felt so stuck that those negative thoughts, like I had convinced myself that because I was so bad and like I couldn't get my life together, that I did not need to be a mother. Like I needed to let somebody else raise my daughter. I wasn't good enough for that. And what I found, that was when I had an experience with Christ. That's when I got to experience Jesus really, like not what my grandmother was talking about, not what the people was hooping and hollering about at church, not, this God, this fire and brimstone. If I make a mistake, I'm going to hell. Like I got to experience Jesus meeting me where I was, because I was so stuck. I was about to make a desperate, wrong decision. And so he met me where I was. But it took courage for me to, one, believe what was happening to me, but also walk in the changes that came following that, which is some of what I'm going to talk to you about tonight. And then there was but I was so stuck that I was getting ready to make a decision that probably was going to make my life even worse. But God came and he saved me from myself. Like he protected me from myself, because myself wasn't thinking right. So you might be feeling like you're not good enough, or you're not smart enough, or you can't figure this out, or this is too much for you. You can't handle this. This might not be telling you the right thing. The Bible tells us in Psalm 139, the Lord says, my thoughts are not your thoughts. My ways are not your ways. So you might be feeling stuck because you've compared God to you. God doesn't think like you. God doesn't act like you. God does not see life through the same lens that you see life through. So if you're stuck, down, depressed, feeling suicidal, feeling like you can't go on, you got to put that smile on your face at 8 o'clock in the morning. But right now, you question if you even want to be here. I just want to let you know, you can do it. Don't give up. Now, that was earlier in life. Now, I'm going to fast forward to another time I felt stuck. And I've shared this story multiple times. When I started Hard Talk and started publishing my books, and God was really working on me, I had a lot of thoughts, and I knew God was talking to me. But because I had convinced myself that my worth was so low, I didn't feel like what I had to share was valid. I didn't feel like what I had to share was that important. But God was preparing me for this, right? And everything that I've done, and I know he's calling me to do more. But I remember when I felt stuck in my marriage, and I felt like I'm doing so much and my husband not doing nothing. And it wasn't even that he wasn't doing, but I was so stuck in my thinking and in the way that my perspective, you know how you put on I want to give you this example. Don't laugh at my glasses, y'all. This is my son's shades. When I put these shades on, just using this for the diagram, X the mustache. Well, you can leave the mustache. But when I put these shades on, I see this screen from a different lens than I do when it's off. So I'm looking at the screen, but the color is off. It's not as clear as it is when I take these off. And so when you're stuck, you're seeing life through a very dark, distorted lens. You're seeing all kind of extra things. Like I would believe I had a mustache if I didn't know any better, if somebody didn't know any better looking at this. That's how it is when you're stuck. And so when I was feeling stuck in myself, usually we pick at others. And at that point, I was picking at my husband. So you need to do this and you need to do that and da-da-da-da-da. And why can't he do this and why can't he do that? I was stuck. So God had to work on me. So that's what we're talking about tonight. What are 3 ways that we can get unstuck? Well, let's say the primary thing we're going to have to move. We're going to walk by faith. In order to get unstuck, you're going to have to walk by faith, i.e., move in courage. What is courage? Doing it afraid. Just that simple. Doing it afraid. You're going to have to walk in courage if you're going to get unstuck in your life and in your business. The first thing you're going to have to do when you're going to get unstuck is you have to get clear. You have to get clear. Who are you? What do you want? Excuse me. What are you doing? Where do you want to go? You have to get very clear. It's just like a GPS. If you're trying to get directions to a spot, if somebody asks me for directions, especially if we're on the phone, what's the first question you're going to ask? Where are you? In order for me to give you instruction, I need to know where you are. In order for you to get unstuck, you're going to have to get clear. You're going to have to get so clear about where you are in your life, how you're feeling about yourself, not how you should feel, but how you are feeling, and what is your perspective? Is it distorted or no? But if you're feeling stuck, I can promise you, you got dark glasses or mustache like me. And that's not who you are. But if you don't get clear on where you are, you will never get to where you say you want to go. Oh, I want to be happy and I just want to be rich and I just want to have the money. What is rich? What is happy? Get clear about what those things mean to you. What I find when I work with my clients, when we start off, what they consider as the best life and what they consider success and happiness and wealth, the definition at the beginning is usually very different when we get to the end of the process. Because they were so stuck, they were so unsure and unclear of themselves and the situations that they were in. So you right now, you might be thinking, I'm stuck. I know I want this in my life and I want this and I want that, but you're so stuck, you might not even know what you want. Your desires are being informed by your lack. Your poverty is informing your desires. What you're going to want when you get full. You've been starving for so long, starving for attention, starving for affection, starving for validation. It's time to get clear with yourself. It's time to be honest with yourself. It's time to tell yourself the truth. Second thing you got to do, the first thing you got to, well, remember, we're walking by faith. In order, 3 ways to get unstuck in life and business, you have to walk by faith. The first thing you have to do is get clear. The second thing you have to do is confront. You cannot heal what you won't reveal. And I'm not talking about confronting people because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to confront my mom. I wanted to confront my daddy. I wanted to confront my baby daddy. I wanted to confront my husband. I want to confront my uncle. I want to confront my aunt. I want to confront the person who made me feel some kind of way back in the day. But the person I really needed to confront was this chick right here with the glasses. The one that had the distorted point of view, right? The one that is comparing herself to other people, and her kids mad at my husband and my kids because they don't want to follow along this game I'm trying to play, because I'm trying to present myself as somebody who people might think is whatever, because what I ain't right within, like Lauryn Hill said. So I'm trying to project something. Like, you cannot build. I've talked about this before. I'm going to talk about it again. You can't build a strong house without a strong foundation. We want to get so caught up on the edifice. We so caught up on granite, marble, countertops, and what color paint and what kind of tile. When your foundation is crumbling and all that stuff is going to fall in on you because you didn't focus on what was important. Confront the issues. When I go through this process with my clients and we're heart coaching, I can promise you, when it's time to start confronting, oh man, oh man, oh man, I wonder if we're going to continue to work together. Because it's so easy for us to blame everybody else, but we don't want to really take the time to look at ourselves. Okay, we got a comment. Let's see. I find that other people get in the way of my path. I try to move forward, but can see other people throw trees, rocks, and boulders in the way of my path. Even though I have confronted and being honest about what I'm trying to achieve, but my needs to move forward seems to be dismissed by others. Oh, I know that feeling, right? When you're trying to get unstuck. I know that feeling, Ramona. It's like I'm trying and people keep throwing these boulders at me. You're leading into the third thing. So the first thing is we have to be clear, right? The second thing, the second way to get unstuck in life and business is we're going to have to confront. We're going to have to confront our bad attitudes. Like she just said, we're going to have to confront the boulders. We're going to have to confront the roadblocks and the potholes that are in the road. Let's not act like this road is a smooth ride. Let's confront all the bumps along the way. And we know that no matter what is there, the third thing, we have to be consistent. Now, to your comment, I want to go back to that because that was when we think about consistency. I'm going to read the comment again for those who may not see it. She said, I find that other people get in the way of my path. I try to move forward, but can see other people throw trees, rocks, and boulders in the way of my path. Even though I have confronted and being honest about what I'm trying to achieve, but my needs to move forward seems to be dismissed by others. Let me tell you what I have learned. And that's why I started this when I said, when we're going to talk about these three ways, I'm going to start this off with saying we have to walk by faith and not by sight, because those boulders are going to come. Those trees, sometimes people are going to throw them at us, but some of them just going to pop up out of the ground because that seed was sitting there. It's been there for a long time and they're going to pop up at us. But we have to lock in and make a decision that we're going to be consistent. Consistency does not mean perfection. I'm going to consistently be clear. I'm going to consistently confront. I'm going to be consistent at being consistent in my life. I can tell y'all the truth. I can be consistent in some areas and I struggle in other areas, right? So when we talk about being stuck and unstuck in life and business, this thing is like a tide. I live by the water. The tide goes in and it comes out. This is something like an ebb and a flow. Like we have to learn that this is a process that our lives are going to go through. But many of us are trying to get to confront and be consistent when we haven't even gotten clear about what we're confronting and being consistent about. The other thing that I want to encourage you with and let you know is that the opinions and thoughts of other people are their business, not yours. In order for us to move and get unstuck in life and business, we're going to have to pay close attention to what causes us to get so stuck. And many times, these are the actions of others. So what does this look like? And I can attest to this. When I started writing my book, my first book, Anchored, Be Blessed Daily Volume 1. If you don't have it, get it. This book will help keep your life anchored. I have had so many people tell me how this book has, I'm talking no exaggeration, help them not commit suicide, help them stay in their relationships, help them not give up on their dreams. But when I was writing this book, all hell broke loose. And I got so scared that I was like, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this. My money got funny. That's when I was having those issues in my relationship. All of those things started happening because I made up in my, I got clear and I confronted that knot that was in my stomach. See, a lot of times we take confrontation as a bad thing. I did because I was afraid to confront people because I didn't want to get people upset. I wanted people to be happy with me because I didn't want them to take their love away from me. So I would get stuck often trying to get love to come, trying to keep love there. And so what I had to realize was nobody can make me feel any kind of way. When people said or did things, I chose, and I'm gonna talk about that. That'll be a time for another Heal With Me session. Y'all make sure y'all share this information. Go to the YouTube page, subscribe to the channel so you can get notifications every Monday night, and go back and watch the previous calls. Yes, you can order your books on Amazon. You can go to my website, theheartconnections.com. You can get to Amazon through there. You can get to Amazon from the YouTube page. But yes, all the books are sold on Amazon as well. Well, 2 of the 4 books are sold on Amazon. But the thing about when we start getting unstuck, that's when all hell is going to break loose, right? That's when you're going to find, this is when you're going to be tested. Because see, stuck also, when you feel stuck, a lot of times that's usually an area that you found some type of comfort in. Even if it's not comfortable, you've gotten comfortable with the routine. It's like you could be in an abusive relationship, but you're just comfortable with the routine. So when it's time to do something different, that's uncomfortable, even if you're not in that abusive situation anymore. So many of us have gotten so comfortable in this routine of being stuck. So when you start making moves, you don't realize the roadblocks that are there because you've been sitting on the side of the road for so long. So it is time to get moving. I'm going to recap those 3 ways to get unstuck. Remember, you have to move by faith, i.e. courage. All courage is faith, doing it afraid, belief in it will get done. Believe that God will do it for you. So you move forward. You walking by faith. You walking by courage, right? 3 things. First thing, get clear. You do not know where you're going if you don't know where you currently are. Get clear. Second thing, confront. Confront the things that are foggy. Confront the areas that are distorting your view, that are distorting your image of yourself and others. This might look silly to some people, but many of us feel like you're walking around in costume all day because you're afraid to confront who you really are. And the third thing, let's be consistent at it. Let's be consistent. Because I can promise you, if you get consistent at this, not only is your life going to change, but the lives of those around you are going to change. And you're going to find roadblocks are going to always be there, but you're not going to get slowed down so much by the distractions that come, right? You're not. So you want to make sure that you do those 3 things. And also remember that you don't have to do it alone. One of the things that I'm really excited about is the Heartcubator. The Heartcubator is my self-paced experience designed to take you from stuck and unstoppable. It's an online experience where you will be able to coach yourself with me guiding you along by your modules that you will receive and the hard work that you will do. But one of the most exciting things about it is every week I'll be working with you if you decide to enter the Heartcubator. Every week we'll work together on your modules and help you go from stuck to unstoppable in life and business. Because one thing I know is that you might be listening to this thinking, yeah, this is all good, but how do I get unstuck? How do I get clear? How do I really confront? What am I confronting? How do I confront those things? I want to be consistent, but how can I do that in my life? I've struggled with that. If any of those things sound like you, the Heartcubator will be excellent for you. And from now until September the 1st, it's half off. And my coach thought I was crazy for doing that, but it's half off. So if you want more information about it, you can go to the website, theheartconnections.com, and you can also schedule a heart session. I'd love to chat with you about the Heartcubator and other ways that I might be able to serve and uplift you. But I know, I just know that you're probably listening to this and just thinking about things in your life that feel stuck. Remember, get clear and then confront and do those things consistently because it's important. It's really important. because you being unstuck is not just about you. This is about everybody around you, everybody attached to you, everything you've ever dreamed about, everything you've ever prayed about, everybody you've ever prayed for. When you get unstuck, you help them get unstuck too. When we realize how much one of us impact the whole of us, we will all live a much better quality life. So I'm just so thankful that you guys are here and have spent this time. And I just want to take some time now. Just remember, every Monday night at 8 o'clock, we are here on Heal With Me Live, our live support group. And now if anybody has any comments or questions, I'm going to open up for that now. Any comments, any questions? I'll be checking the chat on Facebook and also checking here on Zoom. But if you guys want to unmute or type it in the chat on Facebook, I'd love to hear from you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Good evening, everybody. So yeah, this is another great session. The thing that really stuck with me, it was about the comfort, right? So we do a lot of things out of desperation and out of being comfortable. And what came to mind for me was sometimes being comfortable is your excuse, and rather just stay in whatever situation, or even if you don't want to stay in the situation, you're going to stay in it because that's your justified way to stay in it. And so you'd rather waste time and complain about it than actually make a change about it. And that came to mind too. And just the mentality of it all, the mindset you have with the decision, it all starts with the decision. And that comes from what? Your thought, your mind, how you process, how you perceive. So this is a really good topic, and it could have kept going because there's so many layers to being stuck, generational, right? It can go really, really deep. And so I just thank you for the topic because it was really, really good and really on point.
Oh, thank you so much for that. And I'm glad that you said that, because when we think about being stuck and we think about comfort, I think our brains are we're designed, our minds are designed to like protect us and keep us comfortable. That's why we like routine, right? That's why we like to be in routine, because we get in habits. We get in habits easily because it works for us. We don't have to think about it. We just kind of go with the flow. And what I like to tell my clients a lot is, listen, awkward does not mean wrong. Uncomfortable does not mean you're doing something wrong. When I'm working out, listen, I'm uncomfortable. I'm doing something very, very right to help me get unstuck, because this COVID-20 is not nice. But for real, but it's awkward, it's uncomfortable, but it's helping me get unstuck. And so we have idolized comfort. We have like literally put comfort on a pedestal. If I'm not comfortable, then this must be wrong. No, Jesus wasn't comfortable on the cross. I wasn't comfortable having my kids, but I know that it was for a greater outcome. So when we start to make changes in our lives, it's almost like, I tell people all the time, you've been doing this wrong. You had this bad habit for 10 years. You have developed a whole lifestyle around being stuck. When you start working on getting unstuck, you're not just going to quit that one thing. You got a lot of other things you have to confront that have come to complement your way of living. And the thing about getting unstuck is, stuckness for many of us is a part of our identity. So when we think about getting unstuck, a lot of us don't even know who we are, not being stuck. So it's almost like, back to what you said, generational. My mom did this. All my aunties do this. All my uncles do this. I might as well just do this. It's comfortable, but you're stuck. You're comfortable being uncomfortable. We desensitize ourselves. We don't tell ourselves the truth. That's why at number 2, I was like, got to get clear. And then you got to confront. We want everybody to keep it real with us but ourselves. We won't keep it real with ourselves. So that's a great point. And thank you for sharing that, Brittany. Let me see, just checking out Facebook. Anybody else want to share? You're muted. You want me to unmute you? Okay. There we go.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So I had a situation, happen with myself, which had to do with siblings. I'm the oldest, and I have two other siblings, a brother and a sister.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on my path of becoming a marriage family therapist.
Okay.
I'm on my path, and then, like I said, uh, trees and rocks and boulders started coming toward me. And I think the hardest part for me, it was a situation where, if I look back, what my siblings did, it just threw me off my path. And I became stuck. And the hardest part for me was to confront the fact that this was something that my siblings did to throw me off my path. I have no idea why, but I try to get back on my path, but I found it difficult and hard because I was just stuck. I was stuck with the, thought of the betrayal of my siblings. And, and I didn't know what to do. And I felt like I lost myself as well because, I felt confident and I was doing what I love to do. And so I'm trying to get back on that path now. But sometimes, I'm finding it difficult to do. Because, like you said, there's like I don't know if I became comfortable within that feeling, but it was something that was hard to really confront.
Yeah.
And so I had to be honest with myself and accept the situation. But, I guess trying to move forward is hard. And so when I came across you, you were very inspirational.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, wait, if she could do it, I could do it.
Yes.
But
exactly.
yeah, but just trying to find my way back. That's been hard.
So let's think about this. Think about what we said tonight, right? Think about the three things that I said, three ways to get unstuck. What I would really encourage you to do, and I'm sure if you're on the path to marriage and family counseling and therapy, you're probably doing a lot of this work. But one thing that I have found is, and it's just for me personally, I am not good with surface things well. I feel like one of my gifts is vulnerability. So when people just want to stay on the surface, I really don't. I don't have, it's not even about knowing your business and like knowing what's going on in your life personally, but I want to know, like, who are you? Like, how do you feel about a situation? I always find that very important. So what I would really encourage you to do is, and this is something that I work with my clients on, I really encourage you to really sit down and write out what hurts so bad about what your siblings did. Now, I get the obvious. Whatever it was that they did, but it was something about that thing. It was something about the way you associated what they did to maybe how they see you, or is something that you have an attachment to when it comes to your siblings, maybe with yourself, that you need to get clear on so that you can confront that. And I'm gonna tell you, because there were multiple things that have happened in my life that made me want to stop heart coaching and stop showing up and doing this. A lot of things have taken place to make me just feel like, who am I to do this stuff when I got all of this going on in my life? But I have developed this relationship and with Christ too. I feel it's this thing will get me out the bed on days when this gift will get me out of bed on days that I don't really want to get out of bed some days. Because it's once you get tapped into that calling, you might slow down, but you're not going to stop. So I feel like you're in a slow down season. Maybe you're, like I said on the call, you may have a flat tire and you just been on the side of the road and it seems like the car isn't working, but the car does work. We just need to get the tire aired up and get it repaired. So I really encourage you to take some time to what I do. I call it mental dumping. And really, when you think about your siblings, you sit down and you journal. It's like a heart dump. You journal everything that's in your heart that comes to mind about them. And I encourage anybody else that's listening to try this out too. It'll help you get more clear. I cannot tell you how many people I've worked with that I've told to do that. And they're like, I don't journal. I don't like to write. I don't feel like that. Da, da, da. All these different things, men and women. But when they finally do it, they always come back and say, wow, I didn't know that was bothering me. Wow, I didn't think that would come up. Talk about getting clear, gaining clarity. And so now you don't really, it's almost like having a rock in your shoe. It's like it's this little teeny thing, but it is causing a lot of problems. Like that little rudder can turn a whole ship, right? That little bit in the horse's mouth. So I encourage you to take some time and do that. And don't judge yourself. Do not judge yourself. I don't care if something comes out. And like one of the biggest things for me during my healing process was when I started being honest about how I felt about things with me and my grandmother. And I absolutely adore my grandmother. But I feel like as I started growing, my relationship, my grandmother had already transitioned, but I knew as I started growing, I started to look with courage, look back at some of the things I was taught directly or indirectly and wonder, is that really the best thing for me? Is that really the best thing for my family? That's what, like Brittany was talking about, these generational ways to get unstuck, right? And so some of what you might be dealing with really might not have anything to do with that specific situation. That might have just been the trigger for the landmine that was already there. That's what I'm saying. I know it was something there. And whatever, it could be big, small, however we measure that. And this might sound really simple, but I encourage you, if you do it, you will find every time I do it, I still do this to this day. I write things that shock me. Because intellectually, we think what we should be thinking. We say what we should say. But our heart is telling the truth about how we really feel.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. That'll be helpful.
Yes, I encourage you to. You're welcome. And do it often. If anytime you feel some kind of way about it, when you think about it, do it. We have to be very intentional and radical when it comes to healing, because life does not pause when trauma and problems and issues are coming at us. They don't pause and say, wait for Tuesday. She has too much on her plate today. It just comes. So we have to be equally as aggressive with making sure we're maintaining our peace of mind, healing. That's why I talk about healing so much. We're being honest. And that honesty brings about enlightenment and authenticity, and all in love. So I encourage you, y'all, let's whip out our pens and paper. Let's start journaling. Habakkuk tells us, write the vision and make it plain. Like, let's start getting clear about where we are and what we're doing. Because see, when I started doing that, my life changed. God showed me, you mad at everybody else. You're the one with the problem. And it wasn't that they were perfect and I was so bad. He shifted my perspective, remember? He shifted my perspective. I went from living like this to living like this. What'd you say? In my purse. But I hope that helps you. And I hope that it helps everybody else. If you have a situation in your life that is just picking at you. And you know, I've been doing this work for so long. When we talk about forgiveness, that's one of the steps in my 6 divine heart transplant process. And that's the steps that we're going through the heart incubator, plus a few more. Step 4 is forgiveness. And one of the things about forgiveness, I realized there are levels to forgiveness. You will go through levels of forgiveness, just like there are levels to algebra. There are levels to chemistry. Lord, do I know about that? And so you might take the first one and you might be like, I thought I forgave. No, algebra 2, forgiveness 2, the second level is here. And depending on how far you want to go in life, how deep you really want to get rid of this stuckness, those are the levels you're going to go through. So when it comes to difficult family members, friends, the Bible says that wounds from a friend are better than kisses from an enemy. See, a lot of times when we get wounds from people who are our friends, we won't cut them off because we get so caught up with the kisses and don't realize a lot of times those are enemies. My point for bringing that up is, man, when we decide that we're going to get unstuck, this getting clear, confronting, and being consistent, this is a way of being. This is a lifestyle you take on. So there are going to be certain people in your life. There are going to be certain situations in your life. Like I just have to make up in my mind, I'm going to let you have that. Now, 5 years ago, I probably would have cursed you out and had to ask God for forgiveness. But today, you can have that. I might have to go journal about that later. But I've done algebra 1, 2, and 3. I'm on the trig now. I'm on to these other things. I had to take all this stuff. Lord knows I stopped that trigonometry too, because that was too much. But see, sometimes that's what we do in healing. We say, oh, I had enough. I don't want to go any further. But what I have found is when we make up in our mind, we're not going any further and getting unstuck. When we're not going any further and taking our lives from stuck to unstoppable, we're not going any further and being our best selves, we forfeit so much joy, so much peace, so much happiness, because we don't show up, because we're running from the awkwardness, the discomfort, not realizing that awkwardness and that pain is what's giving you access to the life you've been dreaming of, to the business you've been desiring, to the changes you want to make in your family and in your community. My mom is on here right now. She will jump off this. She will unmute right now if I'm lying. When I started healing, it was like a ripple effect. And we were all on our journey. I got very serious about, I gotta get my heart right. God started really pursuing me. And then it started working on my relationship with my mother. And then we were working individually, which helped us to come together collectively. And when we started to heal our relationship, then it started trickling around in the family. When family members who we might not have talked to or see maybe once or twice a year, now we're in communication consistently. And I love it. I love talking to my aunts and uncles and like having this fellowship. And I'm an adult. It almost like reminds me of being a little kid. And I just think about I wouldn't get any of this if I didn't want to forgive. If I didn't want to go through that divine heart transplant process and connect and get aware and accept and forgive and make a decision and take action and keep doing it. And it wasn't just about me. My mother has her own ministry, doing her own work, doing her own amazing things. She is still pursuing her dreams and goals. But all of this came from hard work, getting unstuck. That's what hard work is. Growth, getting unstuck, getting clear, shining a light on those dark places in your life. It's important. It matters. I know this isn't popular for a lot of people. And guess what? Noah wasn't popular for a lot of people either. But what happened to everybody else around Noah? And I don't know about y'all. I heard a sermon about this Sunday. I'm telling y'all, I'm building my own ark. And I encourage you to do the same. That's why we have to really simply, this is why we got to get unstuck. Because when you're stuck, you're not doing the work with your hands that God has called you to do, that Solomon talks about in Ecclesiastes. You better work while it is day, because night is sure to come, and you can't work in the nighttime. That's why we have to get unstuck. That's why we got to get clear, and we got to confront these things, and we have to be consistent in it. Mommy, did you want to share anything? I saw you can't put your camera back on. I put you on the spot.
Good afternoon, everyone, and to my beautiful, gracious daughter. I like your presentation tonight. And getting unstuck. That is real important, because, and as you stated, in our journeys, I had to find a space to do the work that would enhance my process of healing. You know, I had to be willing to confront my issues, and not just on the surface, but go in. And in doing so, it was a lot that I didn't want to acknowledge. It was a lot of generational curses, you know, as you said. Well, I'm so familiar with that. That's what I know, that norm. But in the pit of my stomach, or deep in my spirit, I knew that it was not acceptable. I knew that it was not serving me. So I had to become willing to do some work, and it did not come easy, because I didn't want to confront those fears, you know, all those boulders that you stated, or those unwanted seeds that were planted. You know, like I said, I'm familiar with that, but that's not where I wanted to be or need to be to do the more important things in my life and help others. So, you know, doing this work is hard, but it's fair. And what I realize is that the more the work that I do, like you said, there are levels of acceptance, there's level of healing, and getting to the root of things. You know, I think I'm okay in one place, and I accomplished this, or I confronted that. Then there's so much more. So it's continual work, but it's healthy and it's good work, and it's challenging, and when I'm in it, it do not feel good. But when I get through that process, I have a relief. I have more beliefs in my inner self, and you know, I'm able to interact with communities and people, and meet them where they are.
That's good. I just thank you for sharing that. I think that we don't realize how much of we're not stuck in our own stuff. Many of us are stuck in the stuff we were put in, that we were born into or grew into. And so when you think about your life, I want you to really just, wherever you are, wherever you might be going through, just think about where you feel stuck, and do like what I just said, like heart dump, like write it out. I feel stuck here. I feel stuck there. this is bothering me. You might not realize how one thing is associated with another. Being in real estate, you will see one time there was there was a water spot in a roof of a client that I had, and the roof was new. The house was new. So why is this thing leaking? I mean, the house was in wonderful shape, but where was this spot coming from?
Hmm.
And we had the roofer go up there, we had the contractor go up there. They didn't see anything. But the issue was being caused by something that was very small, and it wasn't directly above where the water was. So a lot of times we don't realize that the issues where we feel stuck, it isn't even being caused by what you think is causing this stuckness. It's something on the other side, but it's impacting where you are right now. And so like my mom just said, it's this whole idea of it's challenging, but anything worth having is worth the challenge. You're worth the challenge. You're worth it. You're worth whatever challenge it's going to take for you to live the life that you feel in your heart and your soul. The Bible tells us if you delight yourself in the Lord, he'll give you the desires of your heart. But you got to delight yourself in him. And that's going to get you unstuck. But people think, oh, delight myself in the Lord and I'm going to be. No, when you delight yourself in him, you will be very uncomfortable in some other areas, but you're going to get unstuck. I can't get my relationships right. I can't get my money right. I can't get my health right. Get unstuck. If you get clear, you start to confront, you be consistent, you start all of that walking by faith, your life is going to be unstoppable. I just thank y'all so much for tuning in. I thank you, everybody that was on Facebook, YouTube, Zoom. Make sure you share this information every Monday night at 8 o'clock, live support group. I'll be sharing during the group. We'll have time for chat. We'll read the chat. We'll have time live. If you want to come on and speak live, you can come in on Zoom. If you want to just comment, you can be on YouTube and Facebook. But wherever you are, make sure you are healing with me every Monday night at 8 o'clock. Remember, 3 ways to get unstuck. Get clear, right? Confront and be consistent in everything that you all are doing. Please share this information with everyone. I want to get people, and they can watch the replay on YouTube. If you want to find my YouTube channel, you can go to the website, theheartconnections.com, and click the YouTube link right there. And the YouTube page is Heal With Me TV. I'm looking forward to seeing y'all. Remember to send me any topics you want me to discuss, any comments or questions you might have. And if you want me to support you from going from stuck to unstoppable in life and business, you need to join the Heart Cubator. The regular price is $9.97. It is half off from now until September the 1st at $4.97. And this is going to change your life. I can promise you this will be one of the best investments you've ever made. Thank y'all for being here. Check me out at the website, theheartconnections.com. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. I love y'all, and you have a wonderful night.